if I pull up at a little bit of an angle, I can make almost no space there to go from here to here. So I'm going to angle my wheelchair into the bed. I'm not going to come up here and park it parallel. We'll start with stand pivot. All right, so things I think about. Where am I going? Am I going from here to there, or there to here? What's going to be the best setup for things from where I'm going to? If I'm going up high, am I going down low? Is the patient going to help me? Is this going to be a dependent transfer? Is this going to take all of my effort? Do I need to go find a friend? Do I need to phone a friend and have them come and help me? Before I get into the middle of my transfer and start spinning things out of the way and get them all scooted out to the edge of the wheelchair, I want to have already made those plans, right? I don't want to get halfway through it and go, gosh, wish I'd had someone helping me. What technique am I going to use? Am I going to do a stand pivot, where I stand the person up and turn them and sit them around? We're going to go through all of these. Am I going to use, this is what I do. Am I going to scoot them across? Am I going to have them kind of half stand and come across? If I asked any of you people to go from here to here, how many of you think you would go? Probably none of you. You would go. All right. That's going to be the easiest thing to do with my patient most of the time. So I'm going to think about what technique I'm going to use. Should I go to their right or their left? If I have a choice, I want to go to the strong side. Okay? So if I have a choice, if this arm and leg is strong, I want to go towards that strong side.
I was thinking push.
Yeah, I was thinking
I can push like that. I can do that way. Most of the time, if I have a choice, best side I'm going to transfer towards. Bad leg, knee surgery, hurt ankle, this side doesn't work. Usually it's going to be easiest for me to do this number. Or if I'm going to have to stand all the way up, it's easier for me to pivot around that good leg. Okay, so if I have a choice, I like to go to the strong side. When am I not going to have a choice? How many people have enough room in their bathroom to make a wheelchair go on this side or this side? I know I don't. So in a bathroom, I have to go one way and then the other way. Getting in and out of a car. You're going to have to get in one way. If you're getting into the passenger side, you're going to have to go into the left and come out to the right. You can't turn yourself around in your car. They don't make bench seats anymore where you can scoot all the way across. So you've got to learn both ways. There is a rehab technique that we're going to learn about later that they encourage you to always go to the weak side because it makes you pay attention to the weak side and foster the weak side and nurture the weak side. I'm usually more about safety. So most clinicians, except for NDT therapists, most clinicians are going to want you to go to the weak side, or to the strong side, I'm sorry, to the strong side when you have a choice. Sometimes you don't. If I'm going to lay this person down and I'm by myself, I almost always want the wheelchair at the head of the bed. Okay, because if I'm going to come over here and sit and then lay down, there's nothing in my way. So if I'm going to help you over here, now I don't have to let go of you and move this chair out of the way. Because if I wanted to lay down this way, how am I going to get my legs around this chair? Okay, so if I'm teaching someone to be independent with their wheelchair, and they're getting in and out of bed, I'll put the wheelchair at the head of the bed and then go over. And then they're going to have to go weak side one of the directions. If they've got a caregiver, someone to help them, always transfer to the strong side, in and out of bed. You can almost always set up a bedroom for them to be able to go up, in and out either way. But ultimately, so when you're new or when you're first meeting a patient or when your patient's brand new and really low level, I want to go strong side. As they get better, as they get stronger, as they get closer to going home, as they get closer to having other needs, I gotta incorporate both directions, right? If I went strong side here, what did I tell you about getting up and down from bed? Now I've got my weak side down. It's going to be much harder for me. How do I get this leg in bed? You know, here's my good leg. Now I got to hook my leg and try to bring it up here. So no matter what choice you make, it's going to complicate other choices. So the next question I ask myself, do I need equipment? Absolutely, I need my belt. I'm never going to do this without a belt. What other equipment? Do I need a sliding board? Do I need a cane? Do I need a walker? Would I be better off with a Hoyer lift? Would I be better off with some other patient lift? If I need the lift, go get it. I already didn't, do I need help? We'll talk about who's in charge in a second. If you've got a helper, we'll talk about who's in charge. Is the patient on board with the plan? If the patient does not know what you're getting ready to do, I am amazed. Two things that will make the hugest difference on your transfers is one, having the patient realize what's going on so that they can help you, and two, positioning yourself so the patient can do the work. And I'll show you how that's affected here in just a second. We've already talked about wheelchair placement, and we've already talked about never ever pulling a patient's arm, which is why I'm using a belt, right? All right, so I need a lovely assistant. Ms. Gam, thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to dispense with some of the initial explanations sometimes just so we can get on with what we're doing here. And I'm going to get my belt down here close. Now, one of the biggest mistakes besides messing up belt placement that I see novice clinicians make is over-explaining stuff, okay? We don't want to make getting into the chair getting into the bed from the chair a 52-step process. This should be a 2 or 3 step process. Okay, so I want to, depending on how cognitively intact they are, sometimes all I have to do is say, I need you to scoot out to the edge of the chair and stand up. I'm going to hold on. Other times I have to give them more steps, but I hear people over-explain all the time. Okay, now I'm going to have you scoot forward, and what I want you to do is I want you to take your right hip, and I want you to scoot it forward just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to have you lean this way, and and then all of a sudden the person's head's swimming, and they got no idea what you're talking about, and they're not going to help it. Okay, so when I'm going to help her get out of here, the first thing I need to do is get her away from the back of this chair, because she can't stand up very well from this position. Okay, try to stand up from there. I mean, she's going to make it because she's young and healthy, but it's much more difficult. Now scoot out here on the edge. Okay, now stand up.
Way easier.
Quite a bit easier. Okay, so I need her out. So if she can get out, sometimes I just have her lean your shoulders back and push your bottom out there. All right, maybe that's all I need to do. Maybe I actually have to teach her to kind of walk her hips forward like she was doing a second ago, so scoot back. See, I can teach them to walk their hips forward. If they can't do anything, I can help. I can get behind her knee here, and I can pull it. You just relax. I can pull that knee out, and come over here, pull this knee out, and now she's up here. I'm not going to yank on her arms to get up. I'm not going to yank on her head. I'm going to get my hands in here on her shoulder blades to bring her forward. You'll notice that when I kind of get into teaching mode and pretending like this is a patient, once I've started touching and started the process, I don't let go. Because when I let go is when they slide off the chair, they fall backwards into it. You'll also notice that I'm always finding some way to block a leg so that she doesn't come this way out of the chair and slide. So I've chosen to put a foot in front of her foot and my knee in front of her knee. You'll see me moving over here, and I'll use a shin in front of her shin, or I'll have both knees in front of her knees. But I need to make sure that she's not going to come scooting out of this chair. All right, now I'm going to turn you sideways so don't fall out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and scoot back out. And I want you to very slowly stand up, but don't go yet. I want everybody to watch her nose and watch where her nose is. Come to see me for this or for something else? Or you want knees?
Both, actually, but they're doing practicals over there, but all of us watch.
Oh, okay. Where you can come through. You say you don't want me now.
Not yet.
Okay. I want you to very carefully watch where her nose is in relationship to her feet or knees and toes as she stands up.
There.
Okay, so is her nose in front of her knees or
Yes.
behind them?
In front.
Okay, so do it again. Everybody watch. She cannot, okay, now sit back down. Now, I'm going to put my hand here where your knees are. Your nose can't come any further than this.
It's really hard.
Okay? We all laugh. If I had $1 every time I saw a therapist do this. Okay? All right, now stand up. Okay, you're killing yourself. And we laugh. I see this every single day. I see a nurse or a therapist get in there and keep that person from getting to their center of gravity. Plus, do you want to lean forward right now?
No.
Okay, so I get all in here. Lean forward. Okay, I'm freaking her out. She cannot get her weight over her feet because now her heels are here and her center of gravity's back here, and I've got her over her center of gravity. I'm going to have to lift. The only way she is coming over is if I lift her. She cannot help me stand up. It is very important for me to get her forward, her head forward, to make that transfer. So I'm going to bring her back around here. I don't know where you guys need to stand to see this, but I'm going to go ahead and scoot her back out here. I usually need to block a leg when we go. Most of the time I'm going to block their weak leg. So I don't want this weak leg to buckle on me as we're transferring. We know the strong leg's over here. So I'm going to pick away. I'm going to either block it here or block with my knee this way, or everybody's legs are different. You're just going to have to play around a little bit. I'm going to have her hands here. I'm going to have her pushing off of what she's standing from. I want to hold on to that belt behind. So I'm sorry, this is kind of an up close and personal thing. When I think about where her head is going to be, I like for the person that's doing the most work to be able to see the landing site. Okay, so she's going to be doing the most work, so she needs to be able to see where she's going to land. So I'm going to stay on this side and let her have her head over there. So I'm going to have you stand up, and we're going to turn, and we're going to sit right there, and I'm going to hold on to your belt to help a little bit. So you'll notice that I'm down here out of her way. I just squat way down to allow her to get over her feet. Okay, so now we're going to step and turn. And I want you to reach back with your hands to grab a hold and sit down nice and slow. Okay, again, I'm out here from her. So when she stands up, I got out of her way. And sometimes you even have to tell people, as you start to stand up, I'm going to back up out of the way. So if I have to be here close, I can stay out of the way. Okay, now don't help me at all. See if you can just be completely limp. You know, if I get her out here far enough and get her position right, I can get her up anyway. Okay, I can bring her forward up over her feet, lock her knees up, and help. So we're going back. We're still going to the strong side. Again, I'm not going to let her grab and hold on to me. I want her to push from what she's coming up from, or reaching for what she's going to. We're going to stand and turn. I want you to reach for them with that hand, and now sit down nice and slow. So I'm having to come up and down. I'm trying to always call them the same shoulder, and then put your other face on your other shoulder, my other shoulder. I don't think I'm contagious anymore. If I'm doing the most work, if this is dependent or max assist, I might position myself so that I can see the landing site and put her head away from it so that I know that she's going to land where I want her to land.